For a limited time, you can get 6 months of unlimited local news access for only $2 at duluthnewstribune.news/deal. We're honoring World Press Freedom Day, and along with this deal, we're giving you free access to our news website for 24 hours on May 3rd, so you can experience the critical role local news plays in keeping you informed. If you'd like to stay connected to your community with unlimited access every day, subscribe now to get 6 months of local news for only $2. Visit duluthnewstribune.news/deal now before this deal ends on May 5th. That's duluthnewstribune.news/deal. Hello Northlanders, it's Tuesday, April 25th. I'm Wyatt Buckner with your Duluth News Tribune Minute, presented by Minnesota Power Employees Credit Union.
The average MPECU member saves over $785 a year in better rates and lower fees. And with MPECU, every ATM is your ATM. With their free checking program, you get ATM fee reimbursements at any ATM anywhere in the U.S. Check out Minnesota Power Employees Credit Union services online at mpecu.com or visit their offices in downtown Duluth, Arrowhead Road, or Miller Trunk Highway.
Now here's a look at today's headlines. The Duluth Fire Department released the names of a mother and son who died in an apartment fire at 631 East 3rd Street on Saturday morning. The victims are Michelle Olson, 52, and her 24-year-old son, Patrick Olson, who was pronounced dead at the scene of the fire, which was reported shortly after 6 a.m. Michelle Olson was rescued by firefighters who used a ladder truck to pluck her from a second-story window, but she died in a hospital later the same day. A GoFundMe page has been set up to cover the Olsons' funeral expenses. You can find a link to that page at duluthnewstribune.com. In all, 3 deadly fires have now occurred in the same building, following the most recent incident and another fire that claimed the life of another person in April 2021. The St. Louis County Assessor's site lists the owner of the property as John D. Ramsey and the taxpayer as Timothy J. Johnson, who served as the apartment building's landlord. Despite previous fires, Duluth Fire Deputy Chief of Life Safety John Otis said repairs had been made, the building was properly licensed, and there were no open code violations on record at the time of the recent tragedy. Other residents of the apartment building displaced by Saturday's fire are receiving assistance from the local Red Cross chapter. A repeat drug offender was sentenced Monday to more than 11 years in prison for the January 2022 overdose death of a Cloquet native in Hoyt Lakes. Judge Robert Friday imposed a 135-month prison term on Carter Ryan Gallo, 26 of Duluth, who pleaded guilty last month to the third-degree murder of Corin Elizabeth Lee Sorensen Brock, 22. Gallo, however, is already in prison for prior convictions, and the new sentence will be served concurrently, effectively amounting to a 4.5-year extension of his existing term. Sorensen was pronounced dead at a Hoyt Lakes apartment on January 29, 2022, after her husband reported that she was not breathing and had possibly overdosed. Sorensen, according to her obituary, grew up playing hockey in Cloquet and had a compassionate personality that led her to work in the mental health field. She married her husband, Eric Brock, less than 2 months before she died. Gallo pleaded guilty in 2 previous cases to 2 counts of first-degree drug sales, 2 counts of illegally possessing a firearm, and 1 count of possessing a bullet-resistant vest while committing a crime. He had been sentenced in October to 6 3/4 years in prison, with an anticipated release date of August 2026. With Monday's added time, he is now expected to remain in custody until August 2029 and under supervision until May 2033. Now here's a look at your forecast, brought to you by the News Tribune's Northlandia podcast.
Good morning, Storm Tracker meteorologist John Wheeler here. Our region of the country not known for a lot of consistently nice or warm weather this time of year, even into early May, and this forecast is no exception to that, although it will be a sunny, fairly quiet day today, also quite chilly. Light east winds, high temperatures only in the low 40s today. Partly cloudy tonight, temps drop down easily into the middle 20s. Increasing clouds tomorrow, temperatures warming into the lower 40s. That's setting up the stage for a good bet for rain Wednesday night and Thursday. Thursday's high getting into the mid-50s. I'm Storm Tracker meteorologist John Wheeler.
Thank you to the Northlandia podcast for their support. The weekly podcast explores curious and unique stories here in the Northland. In the latest episode, reporter Jimmy Lovren introduces us to a pinball duo fixing machines and building a community. You can find that episode and more at duluthnewstribune.com or wherever you also get this podcast. Reporting for today's episode was done by Peter Passy and Tom Olson. Thank you for listening to the Duluth News Tribune Minute. Have a great day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.